I recently had the opportunity to read for a lovely woman by the name of Hannah, and in her mediumship reading, her father, her grandfather, and her uncle came through. And so I wanted to play you a clip of the interaction that took place when her grandfather came through. And there was something very interesting that happened after that reading, and I want to share that with you too. So here's the clip, and stay tuned because, like I said, I want to tell you about some extra interesting things that happened once that reading was complete.
Yeah, because he's telling me that towards the end he just felt so old. Like his body
Well,
just didn't feel like it was his, and that was really hard for him.
he was a
Um,
very active man for his age, where he was still working full time. And then as soon as he got sick, he just kind of, it happened so fast with his passing.
was he also outdoorsy too? Because I see him being outside.
He was
Um,
a fan of the family and mowing the lawns, picking the weeds, doing the
yep.
garden stuff. Yep.
Okay, yeah, because I see him being very much about being outside. I see that because I'm getting trees. I get that he would have loved trees. Probably as a little boy, he would have climbed them and been all over them. So I'm getting like this very like he loved trees. Very much about being outdoors as well. Very much like you were saying. Kind of a busybody, even. Oh my gosh, he's one of these. Okay. So if something didn't need to be fixed, he would fix it anyway. So kind of like if the table he'd be sitting at the table. This has a little bit of a wobble. It's fine. No, no. This is crooked. No. Grandpa, seriously, it's fine. Mm, no, I'm gonna have to fix that later. So it's like he would find things to fix. So everyone else would be fine with it. Like, no, that's fine. And I think that this is something that would have driven his wife or whoever he lived with just like a little crazy. Because it was like he always needed something to do. And so a lot of times he would improve things that didn't need to be improved. And I see him being all proud of herself, and sometimes she was like, it was it was perfect the way it was before. What? Why? You know? Have you not been maintaining your car?
That's so funny because I had to just get my oil changed yesterday. And
That's
it
what
was,
he was showing. Okay, because he's showing like going looking under your car, and there's like oil coming, like an oil drip, and he's just kind of like, kind of giving you that look like, you need to get
like,
this fixed.
yeah, yeah, I just got my oil changed yesterday and it was way overdue.
Okay. Um, Yeah, because it feels like, oh my gosh, are we really having this conversation? Okay, so you need to take care of your car better because there's some eroding in the engine, or it's about to start eroding in the engine. So he's talking about keeping the engine clean. Um, I don't know cars. I don't know what you're pointing at to me. He's like pointing at something in your engine, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. Um, So I think it's fantastic you got an oil change. You may want to consider going and getting another like maintenance checkup on your car if that was not part of it,
Okay.
because he is concerned about. I don't know if it's a van belt or what it is, but he's concerned about some type of erosion in the engine, because it's not being cleaned. Apparently, well, I didn't know this. Apparently, your engine's supposed to be cleaned every couple years at least. I don't know.
I'm not into cars either.
He's concerned about your car though. Um, yeah, because you're putting too much mileage on it without maintaining it well. So yeah, he just wants to make sure that you don't end up stranded somewhere. Like he's afraid of a fire coming under the hood, and so he's like, just make sure you keep all of this together. Yeah, because I'm not getting the sensation that he worked on cars either. So he would have just done maintenance, probably regular maintenance on his own cars, right? Like he's not a mechanic, is he?
No,
Yeah,
he
because
was
I wasn't.
in driving trucks and stuff, so that was his job.
Okay. So that's why he has a knowledge of it. But I was like, I'm not. So that's why it was funny because he's giving all this mechanical advice. And I'm like, but you're not a mechanic. I can feel you're not a mechanic. Okay.
Okay, so you might notice that I was acting a little goofy when I was talking about how her grandfather was talking about the car. Now, I wish I had explained this better while the reading was taking place, but here's what was actually going on. When Hannah's grandfather was talking to me about the engine of the car, in my mind's eye, we were standing in front of that car. So the hood was up, we were looking at the engine, and her grandfather was actually hovering over me right here and pointing at different things in the engine. So this kind of gives you an idea of what it can be like to be a medium, because I'm in that reality where he's right here and he's pointing at a car engine. So I'm in that construct, if you will, but I was also here doing a reading for Hannah. I was essentially in two worlds at the same time. And because of how her grandfather was so close to me, it was a little unsettling for me. I didn't mind it, but at the same time, it was just weird. Because like I said, HSP, I kind of need my bubble of space. But when I do mediumship readings, sometimes mediums can get close. And for the most part, I'm comfortable with that. But this was unlike anything I had experienced before. So when he was showing me the engine and pointing at different things, I realized that I forgot to tell Hannah, or I didn't tell Hannah for whatever reason. I think I was just a little frazzled. I didn't tell her exactly what I was seeing. And her grandfather was talking to me, but I couldn't make out exactly what he was saying. He was talking, he was verbalizing something, but it was like there was a muffler. A muffler. We're talking about cars. That's a little funny. It was like there was a muffle over his voice, or muzzle over his mouth. It was very muffled when he was talking to me. What I failed to do was to tell Hannah exactly what I was that I was seeing that he was pointing at. And what it appeared to be was either a hose or a belt that was hardening. And I also noticed that there was a hole forming in a hose, and he was saying that hole was able to basically manifest or be created because the hose was no longer pliable. It had hardened up, and so now this hose was aging and basically falling apart. The other thing that happened was he was showing me how a bolt had become very tight due to erosion. He was showing me erosion in the engine around a specific bolt, although maybe there was more than one bolt, but he was showing me a specific one that was kind of rusted. And as I was actually watching this video so I could edit it down was when I realized, oh my gosh, I didn't even tell Hannah like any of this. So here's what I did. I actually messaged Hannah, and I want you to see what happened because I think this is fascinating. And I said, hi Hannah, I'm watching the reading that we did last week and I wanted to clarify something. Remember when your grandpa came through and he was talking about your car? He was pointing to a hose or a belt that was hardening in the engine. I think it was a hose. There was also a reference to a bolt hardening due to rust or some form of erosion. I should have explained that better. I think I was just flabbergasted at having someone come through and offering so much mechanical advice, because he really was. He was giving so much mechanical advice. So Hannah wrote back and she said, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I know my battery has been acting up the past few months, and the person who charged it said that there was some type of erosion around a bolt screw thingy. I never did anything about it. What was interesting is that during the reading, her grandfather, which you saw in the video, also mentioned something as far as she had to maintain the engine because if she doesn't, this could start a fire. So when she mentioned in the text to me the bolt being eroded near the battery, her grandfather popped up right then and there. Was like, she's got to take care of that. Like, that can start a fire. So it was really fascinating to me how that whole spirit communication session went through, because a week later, her grandfather was still showing up and wanting me to be more specific. and explained to her how important it was that she maintain the car and get these issues fixed. So yeah, so that was a very fascinating reading, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed working with all of our family members, and I actually have a couple more videos that will come up featuring Hannah and her father and her uncle. They were very, very pleasant people to work with and communicate with. So if you would like to have a psychic mediumship reading with me, you can visit my website at guidingechoes.com. I do offer one-on-one sessions via Zoom, Skype, or the phone. Phone is only for people who live in Canada or the USA. If you live overseas or outside of those two countries, we will have to set up a Zoom or Skype appointment. So check out my website at guidingechoes.com, and I will see you there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.